All right, we're live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Shop Talk 2026 wrap-up. And I have with me a whole bunch of amazing people who are all there with us, and we're just going to discuss all the cool stuff that we saw, maybe some of the less cool stuff we saw, and we'll go from there. So starting with you, Laura, who are you?
Oh, hi, I am Laura. I am the founder of Snotty Noses Co., based in Brisbane, 12 years in business, a small team here of 7 of us. And it was my first time at Shop Talk, and I had an absolute ball. The business was good, the social was good, everything was good. So I am absolutely thrilled I went, but I'm very glad that I went with a guided team, which was all you Aussie folks, because it just gave me a sense of relief before I arrived. And then once I was there were so many bits of gold, just between our group that was amazing. So that's me.
Awesome, thank you. Hawk.
Yeah, hi there. My name is Hawk Steele. I am the partner manager at Starship It. So if you're not familiar with Starship It, it's a multi-carrier integrated shipping and tracking software. So I was lucky enough to go to Shop Talk. It was my second time there. I did go last year. It was a very different trip last year, which we'll get into later. But yeah.
Awesome,
That's
thank
me.
you, William.
Hi, so it's Wen. Just that's okay. I do that all the time. It's like a fun sort of icebreaker, just to let everybody know how to say my name. So it's Wen, working at the Aggregate Co in partnerships. So we do parcel delivery, supply chain logistics consulting for predominantly e-com and retail brands. And this is my second Shop Talk, but feels like the first because I was by myself and wasn't guided this time. So glad, like Laura said, to be with the community and was able to, participate and facilitate a lot of the itinerary events that happened.
Cool.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
Jeff?
Hi guys, my name is Jeff Blake. I'm the COO of Satellite Office. We are an offshore staffing provider that specializes in the retail industry. This is my 4th Shop Talk. I've done 2 of the main Shop Talks in Vegas and 2 of the fall Shop Talks in Chicago. So could talk a little bit later, but a lot of big differences between spring and fall. And also the last 2 years, very different between spring last year and spring this year.
Awesome. Whitney?
Yeah, and I'm Whitney. I'm with Loop. I lead the global field marketing org. So a completely kind of different perspective on you all. This is my, I think my 6th Shop Talk, and I do all of like the planning on the back end, the booth build, and seeing everything from like how the butter is made on the other side. So I've done this Shop Talk in Barcelona in fall. So excited to be in on this conversation.
A real veteran. Thank you. Dean.
Yeah, and I'm Dean. Everybody knows me. I'm Jethro's co-founder on the community, and it was my first Shop Talk. So yeah, we'll get into it, but definitely great experience and had a great time and learned a lot. So looking forward to unpacking that with everyone.
Awesome. And I'm Jethro. I'm Dean's assistant. I've been to all the Shop Talks, about 1, I think, but actually I haven't been to any of the I've been just been to the spring one. So at the end of this, we will definitely dig into a little bit about fall and the rest, because I think those are still coming up and it'd be interesting to get a bit of insight into that. So I guess the first question I have is, what was the key takeaway? Laura, we'll throw you first.
Oh gosh, I have so many. So one of my tips would be take your phone and your notes app and have it in every session. And just my poor old brain doesn't remember something 5 minutes later. So when I heard a piece of gold on the stage or whatever, I just typed it in there, and I am so glad. Otherwise, I'd have nothing to reference. So take a notes app in whatever form that works for you. Key takeaways. This is a bit of a funny one, actually. We were joking that every time someone said the word AI, you'd have to take a shot. And honestly, if that was the case, you would have been drunk by breakfast. I mean, it's just every single conversation was AI, 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 AI. And of course it's that. That was the subtitle of the whole shop talk, for better or for worse. And the great takeaway probably was that actually no one's an expert in AI. It's all new. We're all learning. And if someone says they're an expert in AI, I think they might be having a bit of a lens. Certainly they know more than me, but no one's an expert. It is changing so fast and so quick. You just got to hang on and go for the ride. So that's both relieving and exciting at the same time. A couple of key takeaways was that, yes, it's all about e-commerce and everything, but gosh, bricks and mortar is strong. And if you are omnichannel, do not forget to play in both of those spaces. For us, bricks and mortar, our partners, our wholesale partners that we sell our product to, are 55% of our business. So absolutely, bricks and mortar is so strong. So, that omni-channel is a really nice piece. People buy from people, and you can have the best marketing in the world and the prettiest banner and the greatest website and all the rest of it. But, for us as an e-commerce business, our social media and our email marketing is probably our storefront. That's how people get to know us, trust us. Our product has to have emotional resonance, I suppose. If you're selling some sort of widget that just doesn't connect or doesn't work, you'll be found out really, really quick. So those basics never go away. Even in this world of AI, you better have a product that has emotional resonance, and you better connect with your customer, with people, and make them care about you and what you can help them with. We're still solving problems. That's the whole essence of commerce. We're solving someone's pain point. We're solving someone's problem. And I would like to think that would never change. And even the big guys, the New Balance guy, the Victoria's Secret person, the anthropology lady who was my hero, I love that woman. That for me was the message that came out from everything they said. Remember who your customers are, and influencers now are the new celebrities, right? Boy, do they have some say in how your brand can live or die. And they are just, when I say just, they're an influencer with 10,000 followers, 50,000 followers, and they're almost more famous than celebrities, right? So that's a quick rundown. I've got a million others if you want to hear it.
That's amazing. So many great
And the
threads.
dinners were great. If you can go to a hosted dinner, go to one.
I'll just interject there for 1 second, just on your AI point, because I went to a hosted dinner on the second night where we decided as a table collectively that if the word AI was used, we would drink. And it sure enough did result in a lot of drinking. So, Hawk, over to you.
Yeah, so I had a couple, and I actually, the first thing I'd want to do is double down on what Laura was saying around, we through COVID, obviously afterwards, the bricks and mortar had a real moment, and I kind of sort of stayed away a little bit on purpose from the AI side of the event. To be fair, I kind of got a bit overwhelmed with it, but there was another theme underlying that around retail and the humanization and the brand story that comes behind it through bricks and mortar. We actually got a real first-hand look at that in action from absolute masterclass Culture Kings in their flagship store in Las Vegas in the Caesars Mall. But bringing that vibe, there's no easier way to do it than through bricks and mortar, through the music, the even like Wen pointed out on that store tour as well, the scent that comes through as well, just actually creating the vibe within a store, being able to tell that story. And I actually read it as well. Any customers that feel a human connection to a brand, their lifetime value is 300% greater than someone that doesn't feel that emotional connection to a brand. So it's a really powerful one. And yeah, we had a store tour by Monty, one of the sales guys at Culture Kings, and that place is unreal. It had a bar, it had a DJ going the whole time, it had a basketball court. So, and that was another term that came up, actually, retailtainment. And I think, I could be wrong here, I might misquote, but I think it was for every $250 spent in that store, you got 10 shots from the free throw line. You sunk a few, you get a free cap or something along those lines. So that really brought the entertainment back into shopping as well. And I think those types of things, and the recording studio, the secret rooms, make people feel special, take them back there, try it on. That whole experience. I mean, I'm an e-com guy. Most of my experience is in e-com, and so having that bricks and mortar side and was a little bit, I was learning a lot in that whole tour. But yeah, I thought it was really great and really powerful, and also lots of Instagrammable moments as well, which Culture Kings is really, really good at. So.
Yeah, they definitely that Culture King store tour was a masterclass in retail experience.
Yeah, and actually the tour guide himself, I don't know about the rest of the stuff. They looked like they played the part, but the enthusiasm that came through from the staff, he was just dripped out. He looked cool. You wanted to look like him. He was, that sort of thing. But so that was
there was a bromance going on, Hawk, right? There's bromance everywhere. We get it.
That's valid.
Well, I think we all fell in love. I mean, Wen got a money card.
I got free cap.
She's a massive fan.
Yeah, I think Wen did well. So one other one that I did want to just talk about really as well, and in an industry like logistics and shipping, we're always on the hunt for a new acronym. We's not enough, of course. CFD. So it's a bit of a shift in mindset. A lot of people, of course, tracking cost per delivery, but now people are really starting to move or add into that cost of failed deliveries. So tracking the cost of failed deliveries and how much they're actually costing you as far as churn, support tickets. From what I gather, a lot of those really are actually more costly than the actual shipping itself. So reducing those, tracking it, and tracking any changes that you make, what effect they have on the cost of a failed delivery. You might switch a carrier. Sure, it might be cheaper, but are you getting more failed deliveries? You are. It's costing you heaps more. So that sort of stuff was really good. And hey, if you come away with a new acronym, you've won.
Well,
I think I'm just gonna sound again a lot of echo what Laura and Hawks were saying about the AI and the online to offline experience. So as you do when you go to these things, you start talking to people, and you happen to bump into a Shopify partnerships manager as well. And her insights on that is very much now it's so important to be able to link the experience and make it seamless from online to offline. So having an awesome online experience needs to also tie into your offline experience. So that humanized retail shopping experience, like Hawk said, is probably something that's going to be a theme for 2026 around, e-com and retail.
Yeah, amazing. Dean, do you want to segue here for a second, just explain what the store tour is about and maybe just what that entire first day was about? Probably a good explanation for anybody who hasn't.
Yeah, we probably didn't go over what the format of Shoptalk was and how we all navigated it. But yeah, so obviously Jethro and I, as part of the retail community, we organised store tours on the day before Shoptalk started in the morning, which was Culture Kings and Gentle Monster. And we also went through Lululemon. And after that,
we hit the Skim store. I can't believe you guys didn't come to the Skim store with us.
Yeah, that was where we got the whole scent.
Yes.
Next year we might.
And that was a masterclass in retail.
Definitely, and all the uniforms that everybody wore, everyone was in their sweats. Just made you feel like you're about to come into a warm, fuzzy. If they had a lot of mini bed there as well. Yes.
A lot of male staff in Skims. So gender is just barrierless. Just get in there, buy your gear, enjoy it.
There was a bit of shopping done on the store tour, wasn't there? From a few people. So we had a good time on the store tours, and then Wen from Agrico also helped us organize a 3PL US expansion tour, which was awesome. We got to see not only what a 3PL looks like, but how business gets done and how logistics gets done in the US, which is a little different to what we do here in Australia. And then at the end of the night, we had our dinner drinks at a suite at the W, which was pretty awesome. And we all got to catch up and sit around the dinner table and have a chat, and it was a great night. So that was the day before Shop Talk, and then the rest of Shop Talk, basically we followed the different things, whether it was the agenda, drinks. They had a party with Neo on the second night, I think it was, and we all got together there, which was good fun. There was plenty of dancing and stuff going on. I know there's been a few videos of me going around the web.
I've got a few videos you made.
Yeah. People coming back to me telling me about the videos. I'm like, what videos? And then
I'm just holding it for when I need it.
Come on, guys. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Come on. And so that was a good couple of days, and it was just great. Like Laura said, it was great just having everyone together, I guess, on the first day, so that the following days we just all caught up, whether it was lunch, coffee, dinner, drinks. We just kind of hung out with each other for the next few days, and it was great just sharing. So that was the kind of our experience with Shop Talk, and we obviously bumped into each other all over the place, whether it was in the street, at the airport, in the lounge. There was all sorts of good stuff, so it was great.
And
I helped Dean steal some M&Ms from the Qantas lounge on the way home.
Yeah.
That was gold.
Thanks, Laura, for that.
No problem.
My kids aren't going to watch this podcast, so it's all right because they didn't get any.
the key takeaway, Dean, from the event?
Oh, so many. I think that's been touched on. I think, I would say, I'll touch on a couple, I guess. Like Laura said, one of the key ones there was for me around the human element being critical. I actually took a big takeaway just from the airport, which I posted about on LinkedIn around, they had the Amazon Go store, they had the self-checkout store, and then they had just the general convenience store. And the general convenience store was, way busier than the other two stores combined. They were really, really slow in those stores. So, they're frictionless stores, and yet people don't want to shop there. So it's just really interesting that people just feel more comfortable going to the traditional retail store. So I thought that was quite interesting. Definitely, like the chairman of OpenAI and a couple of other speakers talked about that some things just can't be replaced, and that some things are always going to happen in bricks and mortar, in social. OpenAI don't have the thinking that they're going to own every shopping experience. They're going to own some, but not every. And he used the example of his daughter, who, he said, look, if she's going to buy shampoo, she might use AI to do it. But if she's going to buy some fashion stuff, then she's going to look at social and potentially shop on social in the future. So, I think that was great to hear that there's just always going to be different channels. I don't think AI is going to take over every shopping experience. I think that was interesting around the tech on the expo floor, which was that, every stand did have AI written on it somewhere. And it almost felt like any tech or any services there that didn't have an AI play were just a dinosaur, and it just didn't feel right. So I think that was really interesting. What else was there? There was, I think, definitely like the speakers. We got a lot out of that. That I think just the US is, they're a good 12 to 18 months ahead of where we are in Australia. Just like Laura said, we heard AI a lot. But in Australia, I feel like we're talking about experimentation, whereas in the US, they're talking about execution more. So we were saying we think this is going to happen, and we talk about it. We think that this is going to happen and that's going to happen. Over there, they've already tested it, trialed it, getting results, and executing at scale with AI. So I just think we've got major opportunity. I don't think it's a problem. I think it's a massive opportunity for Aussie retailers if they can move fast to capitalize on what's happening in the US. We don't have to pioneer it as much. We can actually look at what's going on over there and be a fast follower and actually be ahead of our peers locally here in Australia. So that was another key takeaway for me.
Cool.
Dean, just on that, just talking about the speakers, I thought the speakers that were there were fabulous, from the OpenAI guy to Victoria's Secret, the CEO of Macy's, the New Balance CEO, and kind of the big discussion that I thought was really cool, and not being a retailer, but kind of just going and understanding some of the things, is really how they're working on transforming the in-store experience. And I'll talked about it a bit in the States, but it's not it's kind of using the AI and the stuff on the front on the website to get them to come into the store, and then building that experience and building that loyalty once they get in there. But as Hawk was saying, some of the experiences that we're seeing in some of the stores in Store Tour are really there to build brands, but also just to continue the evolution of the customer. Because I mean, I'm American, as you guys can probably tell. All that stuff 2-3 years ago in the States didn't exist from a store experience perspective. It was brick and mortar mall. You walk in, someone making $8 an hour, didn't really care about what you were doing. And that transformation over the last 2 to 3 years that I've seen as I've gone back to the States every year it really is revolutionary to the experience that the retailers want their customers to face.
Sorry, Laura, you were going to say something?
Yes, I was. What was I going to say? I was going to go back to the person who said retailtainment. Who coined that phrase? Yeah, Hawk, yeah. And I think that also gets back to a message that word of mouth is free. Last time I checked, a meta ad cost a bomb, and so did any other form of advertising. But that message of word of mouth, you can't track it, but it is free, and don't forget that. I think that just should be front of mind the whole time. And I also wanted to sort of give a shout out to the team that Jethro and Dean brought in, and people's willingness to share and help when we were sort of in small groups at whatever sort of activation we were, whether we were dancing to Neo or whatever. I'm compared to some other businesses that were there. I say a small 7-figure business. It still feels great to me, but there are businesses of all levels there, and that could feel intimidating to know that you're in a room with a $100 million company or a $1 billion company, but you just can't let it. It just is what it is. And I wanted to give a shout out to Peter Nock, who is just eternally generous with his time and his insight into way to run businesses, way to manage people, way to grow teams, all of those sorts of things. I can't imagine what Peter's hourly rate is to get him as a consultant. And I cornered him at a Neo concert, and he was just so generous with his time. He takes genuine interest in my business, as he did at Retail Fest, a year ago when I gave him a red frog. I think I've all told you that red frog story. That's how I first became a friend with Peter. But just the generosity of the team that you brought together, Jethro and Dean, was really excellent.
Oh, that's great to hear. That's really good. Now, Peter's total value. Like, we love him. So hopefully you can corner
I think
him.
he was dancing to Neo as well the last time I checked. So
he gets into it. It's all good. Whitney, over to you.
I would kind of say I see like the different side. I always love the sessions at Shoptalk. They get great keynotes. I always love the expo hall floor. Like, it is one of the most rambunctious, the biggest. There's vendors everywhere. I kind of view it a little bit like we talk about like a shopping mall, because it is like organically you're walking around and what's going to catch your eye. And then I think of like just shoppers in general on like what catches their, it's personalization. I don't know if you guys saw this. It's, I make your own person was at one of the booths. The hats. At my booth, we did sporting. It was March Madness in the States, and so everyone's so devoted to like a team. So we had different teams, and they were like, "That's mine." It's like so much right now in the industry is just like wanting to feel like your identity in something, and it's kind of fascinating to see specifically at Shoptalk how vendors and like tech companies do that for you all. And then the other thing I would say about Shoptalk that is one of my favorites, I do many shows, is you're right. Shoptalk does not stop past the conference center. You could be walking around in Mandalay Bay and see one of the speakers you saw on the stage. You could be trying to get a cab and you run into one of the speakers at a dinner. Like, you take over Mandalay Bay and that little bit of Vegas. And it's so just like authentic conversations that I love about Shoptalk, is that it's not, your typical show. So I'm thrilled that you all were there. I know when it comes to brands, we work with LSKD. So we flew a few of them over 2 years ago at my Shoptalk, and we had them at our booth, and they were the brand that we highlighted. So this year was really on another level. So really enjoyed all of those pieces.
Amazing. Thank you, Jeff.
Yep.
Like I said, I think there's a couple things. Laura, one of the things that I do on the talks is I actually go and record them and then use my AI on the phone to transcribe them. So I got the whole transcription. I sit right next
I'm not that fancy, but I
to
hear
the speaker, and it just comes through, and I've just got everything because I miss everything.
Yeah.
I think in regards to the AI piece, and as Whitney was saying, there was a lot of cool stuff on the floor. And a lot of really cool things. I still remember Dean going and getting outfitted on the first day at that booth in the front. I did the same thing. I didn't look as cool as you did, mate. But one of the key things a couple of key things. One is the thing that I discussed a little bit earlier in regards to the transformation of the store experience and how important that is for retail. The other thing is along with AI is that AI is moving and it's moving fast. But it's AI and people combined that is what it's going to take it to the next level. And you mentioned a little bit earlier that the U.S. is in that execution phase. There's a lot of people who have done it, gone all in, and then had to go and backtrack a little bit because they've gone too fast, too much too quickly, and realized that they needed to bring it back a little bit and continue that human element as part of that organization, part of the business. So when you were talking and you look at the evolution of the shop talks over the past few years, the first fall one I went to was we are AI powered, and that's just like some guy in the corner who was using ChatGPT, and that's their AI powering, to spring last year where there was a lot more people utilizing and just going all in. But then when we went to fall last year, people really slowing down, saying we went too fast, and now we're starting to find that good mix. And I think as AI continues to grow and to build, it's finding that right mix and understanding what that is and what's best for your brands and how that's going to work. Because the human element of the shopping experience is still something that is extremely important to consumers, and it's always going to be here to stay. So combining that with the technology to help get the best of both worlds is the key.
I love this. It's like we started, so the conference was 80% focused on AI. Like there was no question. I mean, we had the content organizers on before on a previous podcast, and she talks about the fact this is unashamedly the AI conference. Like that was the intent. Yet the takeaways that all of you are saying is sort of like, well, it's omni-channel, it's the store experience, it's people, it's the connective tissue more so than it is the AI itself. Last year, one of the questions that kept getting asked, I think, was like, is AI overhyped, underhyped, or there was some of the third term for it. But like, given that we've been like overdosed on AI through the course of the conference, which is not a bad thing or a good thing, just that was the focus of it. Was your takeaway that at the moment this is overhyped, underhyped? Like, where are we at in the cycle from your perspective? Like, jump in, whoever. Like,
I can just add something there, and maybe it's more of a question perhaps, but Dean, you talked about looking at the show floor and everyone having AI splashed everywhere, and you felt like you could label someone as a dinosaur if they haven't done that. I do wonder, and I've heard people talk about this before, if they dig under the hood a little bit, there's a very small portion of AI behind some of those tools. But the word in their actual title is very prominent, right? We're AI this because it sells, all right, and we know that sells. So it's a bit like greenwashing. I do wonder actually if you dug under the hood on some of those things, how much there is there. So that would be.
That's very true. Some people even ask, when we're talking AI, what are we talking about? And people would say, and you'd work out that it's just rule based. Well, it's what we called before generative AI. But they're calling it AI, but it's not what we think is AI. It's just they've got rules that are intelligent, and they're calling it AI. So there was some of that. I agree with you.
Yeah, or really just advanced data analysis.
management. Yeah.
More so, but yeah, that was just something I kind of thought of.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it's overhyped or underhyped. I'm going to go both. But what I was going to say with AI, it was good to know that ego is out. Like just, businesses are overwhelmed, and you have to be willing to say, I don't know the answer to this. I don't know about these changes. I don't know which AI to choose. What are other businesses doing? Will that work for me? So I think that's the great leveler, whatever stage of business that you're at. Throw your ego out and just be like, I'm not sure, but I'm willing to learn, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
and just to add to that as well, it's like, well, what is your business? Who is your target market? Like if you're selling to people who don't use technology very well or understand how to use AI, what is the sense in that? So it's also looking at the UI front end and how that would look like if you did add AI versus the back end, the operations, and how do I use AI creatively and strategically to be able to influence a better operation, so that the back end, you do all of the AI bits. And so the front end, if the customer's not really adept to AI, it's not something that they're being forced upon them.
I think if you look at it as just hyped, because there's a lot, there's just so much that none of us know, and things are changing so much on a daily basis, and you can go in and build something today and it could be obsolete tomorrow. So it's a lot of it for me sometimes feels overwhelming, because you're just getting hit at so many different angles with so many different solutions. It's a lot of it's just, almost even just taking a step back, taking a deep breath and looking at your business and saying, what is it that I need to change? What is it that I need to fix, and what's best for me? And then try to figure out what that best solution is, because it is going to change. And then you can't get frustrated with the fact that you're going to go put something in place, and there may be something tomorrow that ends up being better because the technology's changed. But going in with it with eyes wide open, understanding that it is changing so much, but you need to understand your business well enough to know what changes you need to make and how best to go forward with that.
I may be dating myself a bit here, but this feels very much like the late 90s to me, like when the internet came out and everything was internet, and the internet was going to completely revamp and rework the entire business landscape. Every business model was going to be eviscerated. Like, it just feels, the conversations, it's almost like a carbon copy just 30 years later, but it's very much the same. One of the things that I ended up
At
doing,
least you didn't say, Jethro, at least it's not like the 1800s when the farmers brought in the tractor, because that would have been really aging you. But just remember how fearful the farmers were. They said, what? No people planting crops. The tractors are going to do it. Life is going to end. Turns out it didn't.
Yeah, same with the internet. The internet, retail's over, stores will disappear.
Was all it about. One of the interesting questions I was asking vendors, because everybody was leading with the AI this, and I was just like, okay, guys, tell me about your product. What is the underlying LLM? Ask that one question, and very quickly that kind of you get a lot of clarity very quickly. If you get an obfuscated answer, generally speaking, there's no real concept of where the AI fits into it. The ones that were very clear seem to fall to me into about, I talked about this on LinkedIn, about 3 different camps. There is what Jason Goldberg called AI tattooing. It's like, you've got an existing product, we're just going to call it AI because that just helps us sell stuff. No real AI, it's there, but it's like whatever. 2 was those companies that have built a business or a product off the back of a single LLM. So take Anthropic or whatever that is, and they've just created like a very user-friendly wrap around it. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, don't get me wrong, and this is not a judgment, but I think those guys potentially face existential risk if one day all of a sudden Anthropic or whoever decides, okay, they want to add this feature, and they're out, they're going to be touched. And then the third one was, to me, was the most interesting. And I didn't look deep enough as to whether they were actually doing this, but what they told me they were doing was kind of an orchestration of multiple LLMs and multiple products and agents in order to achieve a certain outcome. So, to take an example, like you could put something into ChatGPT or whatever, and it may, hallucinate the answer, but then they would have multiple safeguards to try and get around that. And it was a sort of threading of multiple things in order to achieve a certain outcome. I thought that sounded like the most defensible, interesting kind of business model. Albeit, like, everyone's using it in a different way. Like this is like not judgment. I think everyone can achieve great outcomes. But that to me was a real level of a question, because you kind of got real insight as to what the response was, as to what AI actually meant for that business. Just to dive into a certain different direction for a second. So Jeff and Whitney, can you guys tell us what, like, Shoptalk 4, which is coming up in September, October? What's the difference between that and Spring? Like, why? Give us a bit of insight.
I'll go ahead, Whitney.
I was gonna say, it's probably like a third of the size. Like the first aha moment is it's a lot smaller. It's more nichier when it comes to regions. I know they've done it in Chicago, and this year they're actually, is it Nashville? Is it
Nashville, yeah.
so it is a little bit more like regional, and so it does draw more local crowds. But I will say the mecca of it is the Vegas show when it comes, Jeff. Any just like from the size, it's like a mini Shop Talk in Vegas.
Yeah.
So
similar topic.
Yeah, fall is a lot smaller. I think you do get a lot more East Coast people. Given it was Chicago last year, it's going to be Nashville this year. So sometimes some of the East Coasters don't want to go all the way to Vegas for things like that. So you do get different people in for it. I'm very interested to see this year, after 2 years in Chicago, what Nashville brings, because Nashville is it's cool, it's hip, it's a much more enjoyable. Oh, I love Chicago, but so I don't want to say anything bad about Chicago. But it's from a fun aspect. I think Nashville is going to draw a different crowd, and I actually think it's going to draw a bit of a bigger crowd as compared to Chicago last year. So we're still debating whether or not we do go back for the fall. I think we're leaning towards it, just because it does allow us to get more into that East Coast retailer and some of the more East Coast people that helps us. But it is smaller, it is more niche. You're looking at some of the more technological solutions that are there on the back end to support you. But I've always found, even though it's smaller, I've always found Chicago to be very valuable for us. And with it being a little bit smaller, you're able to actually almost be able to get through everything and actually get a little bit more conversations going on rather than just being pulled all over the place too.
That's cool. I'm going to finish on one last question. Thanks for that. So I find every year I go with the best of intentions as to all the content I'm going to see, all the expo floor I'm going to walk, all the people I'm going to meet, all the things, all the dinners I'm going to go to, and like inevitably, it always falls short. I can never achieve everything that the plan sort of entails. What is it? No plan survives contact with the enemy. And so I want to know from your perspective, like what was your sort of key learning in terms of how to maximize all the outcomes that you got from the event? Let's go in reverse order. Jeff, you can start this time.
Okay, so I was there with our CEO as well. So we were there as a team. So from a content perspective, we never went to the same speakers. And like I said, I go and sit there and record and transcribe. And so we're able to share notes back and forth on that. One of the things we haven't talked about either is the meetup aspect of Shop Talk, which is extremely valuable. Especially from a vendor perspective, to be able to get those interactions directly. So a big key is making sure that, that's what our first priority is making sure we jam our plate full with the meetup meetings and getting in there. Because that's our main reason for going. But we do a lot of work very, very early on in the process with that to make sure that we get those meetings filled up to ensure we get the best ones that we do. And, we've got reach outs to, we talk to people about the meetups and they're like, oh yeah, we reached out to maybe 100 people. We're reaching out to like 1,000 people going on and to make sure we get those filled up. And then it's kind of just for us from the floor perspective, it's what I do is like first day, I just do a full loop and just get an understanding and kind of look and not go and talk to anybody, but just kind of get a feel for where it is I want to go and get more involvement with. And then the next couple of days after that, I'll go and dive in and go to get the detailed information from those specific things. So that's kind of how I break it up and to get as much out of it. And then at night, it's as much fun as you can have.
So true. Whitney?
I don't kind of lead this. My feedback is always it doesn't end at the show floor or like the session end. Like the take back is you fill your evenings, like you meet with as many people, you sign up for as many events as you can, you see something that you dry. You want to go to the fair, you want to do racing, you want to go to a fun dinner. There's opportunities. And to be authentic in those opportunities is always a feedback that I get, because no one wants to sit at a dinner that they're just getting pitched to the entire time. This is about network. It's about relationship building. Be authentic and have fun. I love Shop Talk for those two reasons.
Awesome. Dean?
Yeah, it was my first time, so I reckon I could have done it a little better, but I went with a plan to go see a bunch of people and then missed quite a few sessions because I just ended up doing something or other, or going to a lunch or whatever. So I would say, yeah, like you said, definitely you need to plan, but still have a bit of a loose schedule. I like what Jeff said around getting a lay of the floor. I probably started systematically on the first day and then kind of just ended up wandering through and zigzagging all over the expo floor in the end. So I would say, yeah, go with a plan. And yeah, when you hit the expo floor, probably be a little systematic about it. I think I like Jeff's idea of just going around and seeing what's generally around, and then probably go in a bit deeper and go through each one. Like, I mean, Whatnot and TikTok had stands where they were doing live shopping. That was pretty cool to sort of just chill there for 15 minutes every now and then to see how that was working and how people were interacting and what that's all about, which is, like live shopping's coming to Australia as far as I understand. So it was really good to sort of get a head start on how that exactly works and the detailed mechanics. So yeah, I would say go with a plan, but also be a little flexible because, like Jethro said, I think you're going to get pulled left, right, and center and not really get to it all.
It's worth just commenting about the scale of this, because I don't think it's very hard to visualize, especially from an Australian perspective. Like the meetings, I think there are 4,000 to 5,000 meetings happening concurrently in what must be like 3 or 4 rugby fields worth of size, lots and lots of one-on-ones. And then the expo floor, I think, has 900 or 1,000 stands. So it is just enormous. Like this is, I think the amount of steps that you get, I don't know if you guys have checked, but the number of steps that you get just walking around the Mandalay is probably going to put you in good stead for at least 2 weeks. If you're trying to get to your 10,000 average or whatever, you just have to do that 3 or 4 days and you'll be good for for several weeks.
Well, it just works off your evening stuff.
That's true.
Yeah.
When?
Yeah, very, very similar, because we work with a lot of US vendors as well. So for me, it was coming in, being very specific about the meetings that I have and planning that before I get there. And just also being very open to what you might be invited to or what you might bump into, and the different lunches and parties and whatnot that you end up being invited to when you're there as well, is also a big part for me. And the last bit is, I'd say, follow up. I think it's great that you meet all these people, you have all the conversations there, and it's really great and everybody's excited at that point in time. But then if you don't follow up, it kind of just fizzles away and nothing happens from it. So that's what I'm learning this year, is to actually reach out to the people that I did connect with.
Great. Hawk?
Yeah, so I would probably Jeff has obviously got lots of experience with this, which I'm slowly learning. Like last year, I didn't do any of the one-to-one meetings. It was kind of a last-minute trip, really. I missed the boat on it. This year, I did. And they were both the best and the worst thing that I did. Had some really good conversations. They're amazing. And then I had complete waste of time meetings as well. So I think, yeah, I mean, didn't reach out to enough people perhaps to get really valuable ones, but just spending more time. And I didn't spend enough time on it initially because other priorities coming in. Oh, yeah, I've got to book these meetings. We've got to look at that, sort of a side thing. But if I was to go again, like heaps more time spent on really curating those one-to-one meetings. So yeah, just to tip the scales to be the better part rather than the worst part.
And Laura, to close it off.
Okay, sure. I've got a couple of ideas here. I want to go with what Whitney said. Basically, Whitney, you're saying is don't sleep.
Never.
In his out.
That's what the plane ride home to Australia is for.
Yeah.
Okay, well noted. Meetups were hard as a business owner going in, that I had to select meetups before I went, and that page was completely overwhelming. You get the name of a business and one line of what they do. and they all kind of sound the same. And you go, I have no idea whether it's going to be a waste of my time or whether I'm going to be wasting a vendor's time. I'm like, oh my gosh, I think the best you can do is say, I'm going to choose 8 or 10 or whatever, and 50-50, 50 going to be great, 50 going to be terrible. And that's a pretty good benchmark. So that's all I could do. I would say the app was great. The Shoptalk app, it told me what was on and where and gave me a map. And so that part was excellent. I like that idea of circling around and just doing a whoop and a loop on the first day. I loved asking other people, what's the best stand you've been to? And then I'd like bookmark it on the app and I go, right, okay, I'll go to that and I'll see it. I loved the Whatnot stand. Oh my gosh, Whatnot is just mesmerizing. Yes, it's good to sit down for 15 minutes, but live shopping. They were selling, one store was selling a fish online, a live fish. And that's what they were selling online. That is just
That's
brilliant.
retailtainment again.
Oh, I was hook, line, and sinker. Forgive my bad pun there on the fish, but that was brilliant. It was just enthralling. And ask for an invite. Yeah, there was something going on, as Wen said. Oh, I heard that this was going on. Well, go and ask them. Is there a ticket available? What's the worst they can say? Oh, no, it's sold out. Okay, that's fine. But at least you asked. So if you want to go to something, ask them, smell sweetly, and they might just say yes. And my final thing was also accept that the whole thing is a sliding doors moment, right? You go that way and you got to accept that you're going to miss what happened over there. And that's okay, because what happens in the way that you go might just be a bit of gold, and just go with it. That's
Absolutely. That's brilliant. Thanks, guys. I'll give you one last one just to come to mind, actually. So when it comes to content, the one thing I've found, the one group that I've generally always got gold out of are the investors, the private equity or the VC guys who speak. And this time was no different. And I think if you can find any of the presentations where a lot of it is very tailored, very rehearsed, but if they go off script, good stuff happens. Like you really do kind of get, and they often do, because they want to make a point. And I think I think that this is now 3 times in a row I've had that experience where they've gone off script and interesting stuff has come out that I don't think was intended, but very, very kind of interesting, because these are the people obviously that are putting serious money behind the various ideas rather than just trying to sell the idea itself. So that's my last tip. Thank you, everybody. This has been amazing. Thank you all. I hope to see you all again next year at the event. But thank you all for your participation today, and have a great day.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Jethro. Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Dean.
Thanks, Jethro.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.